Hi, Islamic Dad here. Today I'm going to do a video on lying. Before I get started, if you enjoy this channel, if you find these videos helpful, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. So one of the things I wanted to tackle specifically, I know that I've mentioned it in passing in some of my other videos, is the odd narcissist trait of lying. Jumping right into the real world examples that I've had to deal with. My malignant narcissist was a compulsive liar once she went down that route, to the point that, as the anecdote I'd given in a previous video shows, she might go to Burger King for lunch and eat at Burger King and throw the trash on the top of the trash pile or whatever in the can, so that it's visible right there. There's Burger King logos on everything. And then I might get home from work and I would say, oh hey, I heard you went out for lunch today. Where'd you go? And she would say, McDonald's. And it'd be like 5 feet away from the trash can, and I just glance over at all the Burger King wrappers, and I'd say, oh, you went to McDonald's? And she was like, yeah, I really had a craving for a Quarter Pounder. Something that she had probably never ordered in her entire life. And so much of the lying with my malignant narcissist ex-wife was like that, where she was perpetually lying about things that didn't matter. It was just bizarre. Even to this day, I don't really get it, where she might go to Walgreens to get some paper towels or something like that, and it would come up as Walgreens. The charge would come across on say the bank app that we had. We shared a checking account, and so it'd say Walgreens $12.99. It'd be like, oh, okay. And then she would get home and she would say, oh, sorry, I'm late. I had to go by King Soopers to get paper towels. And again, I'd say, oh, you went to King Soopers tonight? Yeah, it was really crazy, really busy, but yeah, I went by King Soopers because it's on the way home. And it's just like, why? Why are you lying about stuff that doesn't matter to anyone? And it was infuriating on one hand for me, going through that phase of my life at the end of the marriage. But also it, I understand from reading and seeing other stuff with narcissists that one of the, hypothesis towards why narcissists lie like this is because it gives them a sense of control and therefore a sense of power. And it's like, no. When my ex-wife lied like this about going to Burger King or going to McDonald's instead of Burger King and stuff like that, it didn't come across like she was powerful. It came across like she was out of her freaking mind, like she was just completely insane. And so all it did was set in motion, really solidified this pattern that every single word that comes out of her mouth is garbage. And I do mean everything, because the thing is, if I were to talk something seriously, are you going outside of our marriage, or where were you last night until 2 a.m. or something like that, of course she's gonna lie. But if I say, where'd you go to lunch? And she's like, oh, I went to McDonald's. And I understand she's lying. I mean, then it's like so incredibly self-defeating. I mean, and that's the part that kind of makes my head, it makes me scratch my head, because it's not like she's coming across as this like Napoleon or this like Hannibal Lecter that's like all powerful and all controlling, and has everyone on her little puppet strings, and she's controlling the narrative, and is the captain of her life and controlling the ship. And so it's like, no, she's just a crazy lady. I mean, she's a crazy lady that's like sabotaging everything in sight. And she's just, I mean, and it's like watching like one of those rockets that catches on fire as it like crashes into the earth and explodes into a million pieces. I mean, that's what to me, that was like the perfect analogy of my ex-wife after she went through her midlife crisis. It wasn't like she was like, I mean, and this is the funniest part. This is a huge tangent. So when she went through her midlife crisis and went into this malignant narcissist personality, she was very aware of the change. I mean, it wasn't like she denied it or acted like it didn't happen or anything like that. She was extremely aware, but she would describe it and I'm sorry, I'm gonna laugh because I'm dead serious. She would describe it as the phoenix rising from the flames. It's like, no. Sorry. It's like, you're just this crazy 40-year-old woman who's acting like she's 21, doing drugs and running her life into the ground. That's not the phoenix rising from the flames. That's like an RTD bus crashing and burning into a brick wall. Sorry, that's like, oh my God, the delusion. So, back to lying. So, obviously, like I said, she would lie about the serious stuff. So, if she would say, oh, I'm going to go out with friends, I'll be back at 8. And then she's like, comes home at like 2 a.m. and it's the middle of the week. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And it's like, oh, we were just talking late. And I knew for a fact that it wasn't it, because, her friend had to get up at 6 a.m. to go to work also. And, just stuff like that. And so, her lies were there to cover up her tracks as far as her gajillion affairs, her drug use, spending money like a maniac, all that type of stuff. But I mean, again, it was like so blatant, it was obvious. And then there was also the aspect of her lying about things that just didn't matter. And again, I know that the experts like to say that narcissists do that so that they can feel a sense of power and control. I don't believe that. Doesn't make any sense. It's like if you go to McDonald's, or I mean, if you go to Burger King and you come back and you said, well, I went to McDonald's. If you think that's makes you powerful, or that you have control over other people because you lie about where you had lunch, you're just completely insane. That's nuts. So, but yeah, it was incredibly frustrating. And then, of course, the lying continued after I filed for divorce, where she would use lying as a way to, again, just this, this idea of just scorched earth, sabotage everything. That was very much my, ex-wife's MO. And so through the entire divorce process and separation, she would just lie. I mean, she'd be like, okay, I need you, I'm going to be here at noon. I need you to be there to drop off the kids. Okay. Get the kids, get in the car. We go there. We're waiting. It's noon. Nothing. Start texting her, nothing. 1 p.m. comes along. She, shows up. And I'm like, well, you said noon. And she'd say, no, I didn't. And then I'd say, like, well, no, you did right here in the text. And she'd say, oh, well, my finger slipped. I meant like there's a 1 and a 2 in 12. I actually just meant the 1. Yeah, and again, like that was every day, every interaction with my ex-wife through the entire, at least in this state, it's a 9-month process to get a divorce. So yeah, that was beyond frustrating. Okay, so lying with my covert narcissist ex-girlfriend. This one's very different in comparison. My covert narcissist ex-girlfriend was much more a lie by omission, and just basically like if I don't say that, if I don't tell my boyfriend this, that's not the same as lying about it. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. So a lot of that, but also a lot of, like I said, the weirdness where she would be on her phone and she would say, hey, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm going to take my phone just in case, we're at the movie theater, but if I get stopped in the hallway, I want to make sure I have my phone so I can show it to them and show them that I have a ticket so that I don't get stopped. But in case I do, I just want to make sure I have that. And it's like, okay, that's never happened in the history of the world. No one's ever stopped you in the hallway to ask for your ticket on your phone. So and where I'm going with that anecdote is that she would do that same weird narcissistic trait of lying very conspicuously when it wasn't needed. Again, like if my ex-wife wanted to go to Burger King, she could just go to Burger King, buy it, and be like, yeah, I went to Burger King for lunch. Okay, who cares? And if my, ex-girlfriend's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, bye. Like I don't need this whole conspicuous story about the phone and all this type of stuff. It's like, okay, all that does is make you look guilty as hell. It's suspicious. And honestly, it's just kind of weird. It makes me think you're kind of like not firing on all cylinders when you talk like that. So my, ex-girlfriend had a lot of that. But as I said, because my ex-girlfriend did not lie in the same manner or to the same extent that my ex-wife did, she was much better at it. I mean, it was much more of me connecting dots after the end of the relationship and realizing where things were in reality versus where I thought things were. And again, it was much more lying by omission with my ex-girlfriend, where one way to describe it would be like this, a puzzle, and my ex-girlfriend would be like, okay, these puzzle pieces, I'm going to take those, I'm going to put them in my pocket. And so, yeah, you can see the puzzle, but you're only going to see the puzzle pieces that I've decided to lay out on the table. And these other ones, I'm going to keep in my pocket so you don't see those. And so it wasn't like she's necessarily, actively lying. It was just kind of managing the reality that she communicated to me in that fashion, so that she would tell me what she wanted me to know, and then the things that she didn't want me to know about, she would not lie about them per se, but she would withhold that information and just keep quiet, or maybe steer the conversation a little bit in a little slightly different direction to get off the topic of her having to say something directly. But that said, I mean, I do agree with what some other people have said, that sadly, either way, I think that lying seems to be very indicative of narcissism. It's very much a common trait for narcissists. As I like to say, it's a tool in their toolbox, and no two narcissists are the same, and different narcissists have different tools that they prefer to use. And so, whereas my ex-wife was very much a lie about everything underneath the sun, my ex-girlfriend was much more on, kind of that, word salad, or, I'd say like almost not necessarily word salad, but manipulation through that. So that if there was ever an argument, like, say my ex-girlfriend dropped my plate, or one of my family heirlooms on the ground, and it shattered, and I said, hey, you need to be more careful about that, and she would, that would be a personal attack that she would perceive, and we'd start going back and forth. After like half an hour, she would like argue to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, I feel guilty about the plate being broken. And I'm not saying like literally, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, and if you've known narcissists like this, you know what I'm talking about. There are narcissists out there that are so good at manipulation through arguments that they could crash their car into you, and after 45 minutes of arguing, you're apologizing to them for being in their way. And that was definitely kind of like one of the main tools, in the toolbox of my ex-girlfriend. So yeah, I mean, back to lying. I just think that it's very much an indicative trait of narcissists, and also just kind of more than that, just the way that narcissists feel they have to go through life, not just their relationships, though that's the main point, but just go through life using deception, because they feel like they could be attacked, whatever that means to a narcissist, at any moment now. And so the deception is just one of their ways of defending themselves. And so it's like, yeah, of course they're going to lie, because they always feel like they're under attack from the moment they wake up in the morning, because they're just kind of, have a natural paranoia. But that's for another video. So hopefully this one's been helpful, and if not helpful, at least entertaining.